Welcome to Who You Were with Patrick Noth and Sebastian Canelli. In each episode, we ask our guests to talk about a time in their life when they were significantly different. Episode 4, X Mayo.
But now you got sneakers. What'd you get?
Now I got sneakers. I have some feelers. Old
Nice.
school, black.
Wait, you didn't get the free lugs?
I did.
You did.
They haven't came to me yet. Have you gotten yours yet?
No.
I ordered both.
I don't know. I didn't select any because I was I was back and forth.
Why?
He's not going on.
Oh, because of the tour.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Right, you are not. Yeah, that's kind of weak. I'm like waiting for Casey to say no there now.
Yeah, I just couldn't. Like, we were doing scheduling for this, and I realized that like a lot of the stuff that I was doing I'm going to be gone the whole time, and like I need to write.
Okay.
I need to make shit.
Okay.
Also, I was just worried about logistics and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
I require like a lot.
Okay.
He needs to be pampered.
Yeah, I see.
Not like that. But like, I have to be
I'm going to ride on that fucking van. I'm going to ride on that bus.
I have no problem with the van. I like just.
Also, I don't have someone that I'm in love with who I'm married to.
Yes.
In a committed
Of course.
So I'm also speaking.
He's got 2 dogs.
And he has a lovely
and
wife.
Pat's a man of routine.
Yes. Yeah. That's what I need. I need to be on a routine or else I'm not okay.
And I get that. When I go away, I get sick in the head.
Really?
Yeah, I go in hotel rooms, I get naked, I stand in front of mirrors and
Absolutely.
I cry. I literally can't. I can never hit the road by myself. I literally 2 nights, and I'll be texting Lindsay, I'll be like, I'm having a bad one. And I literally, a half hour alone in a hotel room, if my mind isn't occupied,
Yeah.
I must have lived a life where I was like a fucking musician on the road that just died in the hotel room because I can't.
Yeah.
As soon as I go there, my soul just drops and I get to a dark, evil place inside of me.
Yeah,
Okay. I'm reading Winnie the Pooh quotes just so I could cry. I'm fucked up in the head.
Why do you want to cry? Is that real? Like, why do you want to cry?
Well, I want a reason to cry. I want like a reason. I want to be like, I'm crying not because of this bad shit that I feel on my inside.
Gotcha.
I'm crying because this quote is touches on life issues.
Right. So that's a better justification than actually saying what's really popping.
Yeah.
You know how quick I've turned on I've been like so angry and sad about stuff, and I've quickly turned on the first few minutes of Up just so I could fucking let it out.
Yes.
You have to, and you know what? It doesn't matter. You just let it out.
You just let it out. But I wonder, that's interesting to know that like without the routine, it's like a two-edged sword because like yes, you have a routine, it keeps you on course, but without it, you should be able to like be clear and be okay. So you should be able to have the routine be interrupted and be in a place by yourself and not be so like erratic with your emotions. Like you should be able to sit there and be still.
I think it's because like I never had like any structure ever. So I think like I'm just.
Oh, you didn't grow up in Virginia's house, Mama. Fucking structure 101.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, especially in my uncles, all military, all to this day feel I should join the military.
Really?
And very, very structured, yeah.
So your uncle to this day is like you should join up.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
He flew out for potato salad for the Latin one, and he thinks I'm great and I'm funny. I'm his like favorite niece. Like my mom would tell me no, and he would always like come like to the side and be like, "What did you want?" Okay, here. Like I'm his fucking favorite. Like I love my Theo, but like he's just he comes from that school where it's just like, you know, this is all what if. This is all happen chance. This is all leaving it up to destiny. This is all just trust and faith. And he loves, you know, I work at this time.
Yep.
I get off at this time. I get a check on this day. I'm going to buy this day. You know, he's just worried about me, you know, especially since I'm from LA. It's like he can't have someone to like come to my rescue if there's anything that I need. So the fact that I'm in a field that, you know, goes up in like this, you're like at the mountaintop one day and then you're valley low next week.
Low lows.
You know, so he's just worried.
Yeah.
He's
You know
just
what?
worried.
I met your mother that one day when she came.
She loves you.
She came to New York, and I told her after the show, I was like, "It's like your daughter's so funny. You know, she's got something special." And then literally, what she said to me, she doesn't even address that. She goes, "She's safe." I go, "Yeah, she's safe." But it's so funny.
Wait, she asked, is she safe?
Yeah, she goes, you making sure she's safe? I go, yeah, she's safe. And like, it's so funny because I like, in my mind, I'm like, your mother just wants to hear how good you're doing at comedy and stuff like that. But no, all your mother cares about is if you're safe.
Security, yeah.
She's like a real person. She doesn't live in our fucking la la land that we do. No. So I was just, it like reminded me, it's like, oh yeah, she's a real mother.
Yeah, and my mom is like that too because my brother died when I was 16 due to a drunk driver.
I'm so sorry.
My mom, no, it's okay. But my mom has always been a mama bear.
Yeah.
Like, and in that way, I get that from her in a lot of ways. And I like stop and laugh because sometimes my friends are just like, X, you're such a mom, like for me, you're such a mom. And it's just instinct for me to protect.
And you got your little brother. I know you've talked about how much
he's
you
coming
call
out here
him.
in July.
Oh, is he? Because I know you said that you call him up on the phone and you yell at him if he's not doing good in school and shit.
I fucking rip his ass. He keeps talking about he's going to Texas. I said, no, the fuck you're not. You're going to USC because he's in a program right now.
Yeah.
Well, once he finishes high school, if he gets just a fucking 1,500 on his ACT, you mean you just gotta write your fucking name right and get 2 math questions right? That's all the fuck you gotta do, and he'll go to USC for free for 5 years. And he's like, oh, I want to go to Texas. I said, you get a fucking scholarship to Texas? I'll fucking fly your ass there.
Yeah.
But you're going to USC. But no, I whipped my brother's ass and knew him because he's a little black and Mexican boy from South Central. So he's like, target number 1. Like his ass has to go to school. You have to do well. And I focus with him on not the outcome, but the process. Like I don't reward him because he got an A. I reward him because he worked hard. Because you can't control the outcome.
Yeah.
Sometimes you work really hard and you don't get rewarded. But I make sure he focuses on what am I doing, like my process, that the work that I'm putting in, not the outcome, because you have no fucking control over that.
Because I feel like you have such a mature... By the way, folks...
Yeah, enjoy the podcast. Come on.
I'm sorry.
You sloppy asshole.
We're here. I'm keeping it on track. Guys, who you're hearing is X Mayo, one of the... And I was just about to compliment you. I think that you're such a mature soul. Like, you like... When I listened to you talk, when I saw you on a panel once, and I was like, it's from the heart. It's powerful. You know who you are. Mm-hmm. How old are you? Do you mind if I ask how old you are?
No, I have no problem. I love my age. I'm 30.
You're 30.
Yeah, and I'm not one person that... I love getting older. I enjoy it. I embrace it. I love the changes that are happening to my body and my hair and my face because I'm better. I can't imagine like who I was at like 23. Insane.
Yeah.
So I'm just so grateful and I'm excited because as I get older, it's just more lessons and more wisdom and more love. So I enjoy getting older.
Guys, welcome to Who You Were. I'm very excited to have X Mayo here tonight. My name is Patrick Noth.
Hey, what's up? I'm Sebastian Canelli.
And
Canelli wink. Y'all didn't see that shit. Real smooth. Sebastian Canelli wink.
Yeah, what's going on? There's a lot of power in that name.
You guys are just not going to let me get on track at all.
Come on, keep this shit focused, Pat. Come on, bro. We're chilling. Keep it focused.
All right, so in this podcast, we bring on comedians. We ask them to talk about a time in their life when they were significantly different than they are now. If you want, you can send us a before and after picture, and you can go and we'll put you up on the Instagram, which is at Who You Were Podcast. That's our handle, and we'll have a picture of X up there as well. I'm just super excited to have you. Before we get into it, we asked like a bunch of like just quick questions for context.
Great. First, we're supposed to ask who you are now. Who do you think you, right?
Isn't
that the first thing?
Outside
Was
of comedy.
Wrong?
No, you're right. You're totally right.
I was wrong.
No, you're nailing it. You're killing it. You're killing it.
Hell yeah.
Outside of...
I'm dirty boy.
Oh, Bastion always fucking kills it.
Yeah.
What you thought?
Yeah.
So the question is who I am now.
Yeah, like outside of comedy, we know you have a show currently on Facebook. You have a number of, just a ton of sketch shows that you're doing. You do a lot of improv.
Yes.
You're insanely talented. Outside of that, who are you?
It's hard. No, I know. It's like a question because I know like your art and your work defines a lot of you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But before anything, before I'm a woman, before I'm black, before I'm Latina, before I'm a daughter, I would say above anything, I'm a servant.
What does that mean?
I believe that a major purpose of mine is to assist and help the needs of others in whatever capacity I can that is not damaging to my own health.
I mean, that's pretty beautiful.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I do. I do think that, because I don't, and I know it might sound like, is it oxymoron? I think that's the word. Like, not like makes sense. It's like like opposite or whatever. But paradox,
maybe.
Yeah, paradox. But
I don't know. You looked at me for a vocab question. Don't you ever dare do that again.
I don't desire fame. I don't. I believe that God has allowed me to be on certain platforms and to be a light, because once I am a light, I'm a witness of Him and His grace and what His favor can do. But I really, 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 really love people.
Yeah,
I really, really do, and I really believe that everything that we all go through is connected for a reason. And sometimes I meet people that are struggling with something that I was struggling with 6 years ago. And it's just like, oh, okay, so this is why I went through it. It's not about me.
Yeah, because you can show up and be of service to that person because you went through it already. You know, I also feel like I'm at my happiest when I'm serving others, or when I'm sharing my experience with someone who's going through something. Do you wake up like that? Because I don't. I wake up like fucking Donald Trump. I'm a fucking lunatic when I wake up in the morning.
I hope you don't wake up like Donald.
I'm just like,
he wakes up with 3 bad bitches holding his dick.
But I mean, I wake up
on the side just recording it.
My daughter's gonna record this.
Oh, Ivanka, it's not my daughter. Oh, my wife.
But what I mean by that is, like, I wake up, like, you know, driven by self-centered fear, you know, like I really do. And I like have to like get grounded and remind myself what makes me happy. Do you wake up like that, or do you need to ground yourself?
Most days I wake up grateful.
Yeah.
Just grateful. What I do is I put my phone on airplane mode when I go to bed. So that way, I'm not driven by like anxiousness to like look at my phone. And even if I do, I see nothing. But getting in the routine of just literally like laying on my back and breathing and listening to my breath and knowing that because I'm alive, the day is already great.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
You know,
that's
like so you just,
nice.
And I think I have, sorry, I'm going to get emotional. I think I have this mentality, and I don't think that you get this mentality unless you experience death that close. So losing my brother at 15 and him passing away at 25, which is like the statistic for Black men, so that was hard too. Losing him, you put life in perspective when you lose someone that close. And my brother was my hero. My brother was my everything. Like, he taught me how to fight. He taught me how to drive. He taught me like what men do, how men think, what, you know, and he was a huge protector of mine. So
what was his name?
Stephen Eugene Slack, but we called him Chacho.
I love that. Chacho.
Yeah, Chacho. And so he was a huge protector of mine, and you don't, so unless when you lose, I would say, what's common, because I've had my other cousin, she's really close to me. Her brother passed away too, and we were very close, brought us like closer. And we say the same thing about life. Like, I view life so differently, having lost my brother and not losing him in an instant. Literally, like, he said, "I love you," and he walked out the door, and then, you know, he passed away that night. So when you lose someone and it happens like that sudden, like, your perspective on what's important and what matters to you most, like, that shifts.
Yeah.
So I think that I have the perspective that I have on life, and there's like a lot of things that don't move me, or there's certain opportunities that I'm okay with turning down that could potentially bring me a lot of money, because that is not my focus. Like, I'm living to live again. You know, like, there is a home in the sky for me, and that's what I'm gonna die. Like, you know, like, and I don't say that to like seem sad, but like I think about death a lot. And my grandfather, who's also a pastor in LA, he always talks about the dash. Like, it's not about when you were born, it's not about when you died, but what you do in the dash.
Yeah.
The dash on your tombstone. Like, it's not about the day that you were born. That doesn't matter, you know, but it's about the dash. So that's what I'm always thinking about, is the dash, like with the decisions that I make.
Yeah.
You have great vocabulary around these hard issues. You've like created vocabulary probably with your community, like your church or your family. Like, that's nice, because you need those kind of vocab words that mean something to you. And everyone needs their own, and everyone, like, you learn, but that's something that you have, and that's nice because you're able to like reach for those when you want to understand stuff.
Yeah, but it took some time. He died when I was 16, so now I'm 30, I can say it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a good like 7 years before I could say his name and not like burst into tears, or even say, because when people ask me how many siblings do I have, I always say 2. I always acknowledge him, and I say I have an older brother, but he passed away, and my baby brother, because like my older brother Steven is important to me, and my baby brother Steven, the reason that he's so important is because he was born the year my brother died, and my cousin, so it's my cousin's son.
Yeah.
And so when my brother died that year, so she named him Steven. So my little brother's name is Steven too.
Yeah.
So he's so special because we lost Big Steve, and then we got little Steve the same year.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I knew that your brother died, but it's the same thing. I never like ask about it and stuff like that. It's thanks for sharing.
Of course. No, yeah.
Of course.
I'm open.
No, I know you are.
Yeah.
And that's my own. I like encountered this on another podcast. Like, it's my own. Like, I get nervous to like bring it up because I'm sensitive, and I know that like I just don't want to make people feel bad.
But that's so beautiful that you even have that to be like, oh, it's delicate. Let me, yeah.
Because
so
it doesn't
beautiful.
serve me to talk to you about that in a way.
And there's some people that are just like, all right, let's crack it open. Talk about that dead baby. He died. What day? What was it? What did you have on? G? Bacon, egg, and cheese? Well, shit.
The least important details around it.
I'm very sorry for everybody listening. You need to adjust your volume because I fucking laugh so loud.
I love
with
that.
these two putos, I laugh so much.
You gotta laugh. You know, that's half what I love about comedy is that I get to laugh.
You know what's crazy about doing this podcast is like we perform together, we do shit together, we laugh together, and then it's like you get to know people beyond that in a way that's like, I'm like, oh my God, like, you know, like I'm like, this is like, I don't know that we would have these conversations. We're in a green room, you know?
No,
Never.
never.
Never. It's bits.
And even like, I try to be honest, but like that, I'll say one honest thing and I'll undercut it with 5 things
100%.
making fun of that shit.
Absolutely.
No, yeah, I'm just like, yeah, you know, it was a really hard day. It was like, yeah, hard like my dick. It's like, okay. Oh.
I've never made a penis joke.
And that was Jessica Henderson. Jess loves talking about her penis.
We don't want to hear about your day. We want to make dick jokes back here. So where did you live at this time? And is that where you're from originally?
Yes. I was living in LA. And I'm from LA, born and raised. Woo woo. I threw up so many gang signs right now.
Yes, it was cool. How old are you?
How old was I? I was 23.
23.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of music were you listening to?
Okay. So
Favorite artist?
It was 2007. I was, okay, so...
Drake.
Wait, no. It was 2000. No. I was 23, so that was 7 years ago. So that's when 2013,
2011.
2011. Okay,
yeah.
I was heavily into J. Cole, The Warm Up,
Nice.
Heartbreak Drake.
Sure.
Also, I think he had came out with that's when he said, "You fancy, huh? That album had came on. Definitely Kendrick Lamar, Overly Dedicated. At that time, like Schoolboy Q was like in the little like mixtape circuit, so I would like listen to little stuff from him.
I was listening to him right before you came
Oh my
over.
God, oxymorons, fucking.
So you guys were listening to like Schoolboy and Kendrick way before we were, right? Like,
I think people will, because in 2000, Overly Dedicated came out in 2010. So I think a few people, like nobody really was on Section 80. Section 80 came out in 2008, but like Overly Dedicated, I mean, he's our modern day. He's like Pac. He's everything to us. Like you hear him everywhere. I mean, you pull up to Carl's Jr., it's like, sit down, be humble. Like,
sure.
It's so insane to me that, like, with, you know, like, I grew up listening to hip hop, and like, it's so insane that, like, his level of, like, he's probably the greatest. I think he's probably the greatest. And I remember being like, oh, like, lyrics, like, people aren't lyricists like they used to be. And then he came out, I was like, this dude is the best. I know. And J. Cole as well.
Swimming Pools. When Swimming Pools came out, that's when really everybody was just like, okay.
Yeah.
And the way that I have friends that are very talented, and I've been in the studio with them, and my homeboy, he like writes for Beyonce, Rihanna, and stuff like that. And I've just kicked it in the studio with him, and how it is so hard to make a hit record. Yeah. Like, it is so hard. Even people who sing live, I'm like, I hate your songs. Like, you sing great live. It's so hard to make a hit. Like, he spent like 4 hours, my homeboy, like, just doing the ad-libs. And then when you hear the whole song, it's like, oh, okay. Just a little, like, what that does to the whole song. Like, it's insane. So, yeah, I was listening to that. And even though it was 2011, I'm very, very old school. So I'm always listening to Donny Hathaway. I'm always listening to the Isley Brothers. I'm always listening to the Stylistics. I'm always listening to like Motown, Temptations. That's what I grew up off of. Like, every family function had that.
Yeah. Sure. I have the same thing. You have the music that you listen to with your friends, and then you also had the music that you grew up on that you love.
Right, yeah. And a lot of... I love like old school, like John P. Key gospel, and like Dorinda Clark Cole, like the Clark sisters. Yeah.
Cool. Mm-hmm. I love that. So what'd you do for fun around this time?
Oh, God. So at the time, I was in I would not call it, because this is the thing, we mislabel love. And then I feel if you call something that's a dysfunctional codependent entanglement, which is what it was.
Can you say that again?
Dysfunctional codependent entanglement.
Great. It took me 2 times to wrap my head around 3 words. A lot of syllables, though. So.
It was, babe. It was a lot. DCE, babe. So much. But yeah, and that's what it was. And if you call that love, then I'm saying that I will experience that again, or that's what love is, and it's absolutely not. But at the time, that's what I was in with my ex, who was my first love, my first everything, first time, first everything. Mm-hmm. And so for fun, I just would be with him. It was so disgusting how codependent. You guys were
enmeshed.
It was disgusting.
Yeah.
It was disgusting. He would change the date for his like court date, like he got a traffic ticket, and I couldn't come with him, so like he didn't go.
Yeah.
It was like so disgusting, and when you're in it, you cannot see it. You just can't. And then you be damned if anybody tells you that it's not real, and you be damned if anybody tries to like break it up or like suggests you leave.
Sure.
It's like a drug.
It is the gosh, next to fame, it's like the worst kind.
Yeah.
It's like, it's really, really intense. So that's what I did for fun. I would always be with him, travel with him. He was a well-known musician in church, so he always got booked in so many gigs. He's very, extremely talented, and also would play for like Ryan Leslie, other like R&B artists and stuff like that. So just would be with him and like go to church events and like functions and stuff like that, and just like and was still at the time, I think I had, because I quit acting for 3 years. So at the time I had quit acting, I was doing makeup, and I was in film school.
So you quit acting because you were like, I'm gonna follow my boyfriend around.
No, I quit acting because I was like going to be like considered to be a background dancer for this artist.
Okay.
And I was like around the size that I am now. And the manager was just like, she has to lose weight. She's not the right fit. And it broke me because my weight's never been an issue because my talent has always like proved. And I started as a dancer first. I've been dancing since I was 8, and I was even best dancer, most talented, like voted at like my high school, and like always choreographed all the dances and stuff like that. So I didn't know anything was wrong with my weight until someone said it, and that really broke my spirit. And then just not booking in LA, you know, being from there and just like auditioning, and then it's like she's Latina but not like Sofia Vergara. She's black but like she's like, you know, too like it was just she's too tall. It was just so much.
They need a box to try to fit you. Yeah.
So I was like, bump that, but a bitch is not no fucking 9 to 5. I'm not no admin assistant. So I was like, I still need to be creative. What do I want to do? So I got into film school, and then I went to makeup school.
What kind of clothes were you wearing around this time?
What kind of clothes I was wearing? It was 2011. Kind of, was I working? No, I wasn't at TSA anymore. I would say still kind of how I dress now, as far as like I love skirts and sweats. I wear skirts, dresses, or sweats. At the time, I would like to say I was just coming into like first losing weight. I was like, lost like my first like 30 pounds. So I started like feeling myself. I started like, I stopped wearing glasses. Anybody who knows me in LA before 2010 knows that if I even slept at your house and you woke up before me, I would cover my eyes and be like, hand me my glasses. I hated how I looked without glasses. So people don't know the power that I feel even performing on stage in contacts. It's like, I always feel like so proud of myself that I have like eradicated the lie that I'm not beautiful without my glasses. But it was like a blanket. It was like my blankie, and it was just like shield, like represented so much for me. So I just like stopped wearing glasses and like was like started wearing heels more. So I was either in heels and dresses, and then just like sweats and stuff, because at the time I had like just started like working out.
Sure. Nice. And who were your friends? Like, what was your friend group, if you have to say?
Dysfunctional.
What type of? How would you say if you had? Like,
I would
archetype?
say
if you were an archetype in like a teen or
yeah, because at the time I was 23. And that's 8 years ago. So that was 2010 then, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be 31. So yeah, so I was working at TSA at the time.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
I was working at TSA.
So
I was always in that fucking uniform and then sweats and then no, guys, I was about my fucking money because I worked at Southwest, and like you always had OT because Southwest is with the shits. So I would always come, like my boss would be like, yo, X, my time in would be like 3 p.m. and I'd be like, yo, I'm gonna come in at 7. He'd be like, fine. Like they always need OT. So and then I had claimed exempt for like 3 months because you could do it for the federal government if you work just for 3 months and that's it. Yeah. So I was making like fucking like $1,500 a week.
Wow.
Like, and living with my mom, just sliding her a couple dollars. My car was paid for. I had my I didn't even have an iPhone. I was like, fuck that. I don't need that phone. That costs too much. Had my little Boost Mobile, my little flip phone, fucking $50.
Sure. Yeah.
And everybody was walking around with their iPhones and their Benzes fucking broke after we got paid. And I'm all like, where are we eating? And everybody's broke. And I'm like, oh, bitch, we just got paid. But you got car note because your ass want to be in the fucking Benz and have your iPhone. Like, out of here. You got my Toyota Tercel, 97, new engine, bitch purrs like a kitten.
I rocked a Chevy Cavalier for 12 years.
Fuck you mean? Yes.
Manual doors and windows that you would flip down the visor, there would be no mirror.
Yep. Yep, and I gotta move my rearview. I gotta move my shit with my hand.
Yeah, you gotta roll down the window and then you poke the sides. Yeah, I have the same shit.
Yeah, anybody riding with me, I said, listen, you co-captain, put your fucking hand down, move the shit, so I can see this motherfucker in my rear view.
My shit was so bad when I would drive to the city, I would have to pull over in Brooklyn and just let the car sit for 10 minutes, or else I would get too hot by the time it would overheat for the time. So I'd have to get off the BQE and just sit on the side for 10 minutes.
And you know how I know my car was golden because someone stole it.
Insane.
A 97
Toyota Tercel, red baby.
New engine.
Wait,
now you said something.
That's why it's
You said something before. I'm unfamiliar with always had the shits as a slight.
Southwest?
Yeah, you said they always had the shits?
Yeah, with the shits. So with the shits means just like, so it's, with the shits has a double meaning. Because with the shits could mean bad, like, okay, you know what? Like if we walk into a function and I'm just like, yo, Bastion, they with the shits. And the way that I'm saying it, you know, it's like, oh, it's problems, it's static. People is drunk, people is about to fight and stuff like that. But it's like, it's so funny because me and Patrick are on a team with Will Martinez, and Will is with the shits. And what happened was him, and we're on a team called No Chill, and it's with 2 other members, and we all went to go to the movies to see Jumanji, right? So we went, and Will bought the tickets, and it had a specific number on it. So when we go, we see our other 2 teammates sitting in the seats, and then there's no seats left next to them. So we're like, oh, so somebody took our seats. So I'm just kind of like, okay, cool. Well, we could just sit in like the wheelchair thing. And he was like, nah, I paid for C7 and C8. Yeah. They gonna have to get up. And I was like, oh, Will. He was like, no, I'm with the shits today. So we go out and get popcorn. I'm like, Will. He was like, oh, no. And so I walk in, and so I sit down on the wheelchair section. I said, so I'm gonna be back up. I'm gonna wait till shit pop off, because it is a female. So I'm gonna let shit pop off. I'm like, well, okay, step back. Let me holler at her, because I don't want you, having to go at it with no female. So then I see it, and he's like, this woman has kids. And he looked down. He put the fucking camera light on, flashing on her ticket, flashing on his ticket, and I saw them get up. He was like, come on. Like, yo, so with the shits could be in a positive way. Like, no, I'm with the shits today. Like, this is not okay. Like, you're not gonna fucking play me. I bought this ticket, C7, C8, get your ass. But it also could mean like, well, so Southwest is with the shits in a negative way. Like, they always fucking late, always got delays. Sure. But you fucking, it's like Soul Plane. These fucking, what is it? Flight attendants, them bitches want to bring Ciroc everything, go against all regulations, talk shit. Yeah. It's just, and when I was at TSA when Michael Jackson died, I was at Southwest, and it was pandemonium when he passed away, and everybody canceled their flight and stayed in LA because they knew the funeral would be in LA.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we're gonna get into like, why did you want to talk about this time? Like who were you at this time?
Let's get into it. What's going on?
Had to exhale. Okay, so the people that I had around me during that time were people who didn't have my best interest, but they didn't have their best interest for themselves.
Yeah.
So you can't.
You were 23.
20 fucking 3.
You thought you were adults, you weren't.
Yeah. And then when you become, engulfed in a relationship with someone who is 8 years older than you.
Wow.
And
so he's 31.
Mm-hmm.
He's the age you are now.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean.
So you're not trying to pick up any 23-year-olds right now, right?
I mean, Listen. If a dude is not at least 30, I'm just like, this is illegal in the state of New York.
I'm 28. What are you saying?
I don't know, bad shit. I guess it's like exceptions to the rule. I would have to see. He would have to be.
You need a man. You need a grown-up.
Need a man. I don't need. The problem is I don't have time to date someone I have to raise.
Sure.
Right.
So I don't have time to fucking tell you, like, you're mad. Communicate that to me because I haven't spoken to you all day.
Mm-hmm.
They have to know. They
like,
have to know themselves.
If you don't know, to be like, yo, babe, we usually talk all day, or I text you stuff like that, but like, if my feelings is going on, so you're not gonna hear from me. Cool. Like, I don't have time.
Sure.
Right.
And I don't have to.
Right. Because the extremes of communication in relationships are like temper, loud, or quiet, passive aggressive.
And I don't play those games.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so during that time, what you ask me, Pat? What was I doing? Or
no, like what was the situation? We're talking about this relationship that
that I was in.
Yeah.
Yes. So. Okay, so the relationship I was in, I knew him since I was 16. And growing up in like choirs and in the city and church and stuff like that. But then the shift happened when I came back from college. So I was in college and I came back, and it was always like, big brother, little sister, but it's like I'm not your little sister. It's like, she's a grown woman now, and I was like 19, 20. And even looking back in retrospect, I'm looking at there were so many inappropriate interactions that I had with him. Because I remember even at 16, he drove me home, and I just said under my breath, I was like, I don't feel like going home. And he drove to a parking lot, and we just sat there and like talked. I was 16.
And he was at your church, right? This was he?
No, he was not at my church. He was just a well-known church musician.
Okay. So where was he driving you from?
Choir rehearsal. I was in an inner city choir that was very well known, and we won a lot of things, and we recorded with the Black Eyed Peas. It was we were the shit. And so it was just like, so even looking
and
back,
that's weird because he's 24.
Yeah,
you don't want to be hanging out with a 16-year-old.
Yeah, and why did you pull to like he knew what parking lot? I didn't even know that parking lot was there. Yeah, it's like an abandoned parking lot.
So you don't feel like he was the first, that you weren't the first 16-year-old that he...
No, and even though nothing happened, it was just kind of like, this is... Like, as a grown woman looking back in retrospect, at 16, I'm just like, I said I didn't want to go home. He's just like, so I mean, And then also, too, he met me at the year that my brother died. Right. So I'm searching for that male attention. I'm searching for that validation, and I'm subconsciously asking for it. So I'm just saying that because it just like I thought about this like a year ago. Like, damn, that was inappropriate. Of course. Yeah, inappropriate as hell. So when we the shift happened when we were like hanging out all the time, and then he was like, we were just like, we were best friends, and we would tell people we were best friends, and I knew that there was something there, and I knew that I liked him. And subconsciously not even realizing that he represented so many things from my birth father. The man who was my dad, the man who's raised me, is not biologically my father, but he's raised me since I was 5. My birth father and I do not have a relationship. I do not speak to him because he has an issue with not putting his hands on women. So he has his own things to work out. But it's so crazy because if you don't do the work that you need to do to like better yourself as women, we will subconsciously date our fathers. And that's what I did with my ex. Literally down to the cologne. Like my birth father is some parts of him that I have. He is the life of the party.
Of course.
You can't deny him when he's in the room. He's always best dressed. My birth father had every new car that I ever seen and always had multiple women. And so my ex had a Range Rover, a Cadillac, and a Benz. And
Escalade?
No Escalade. He didn't want it anymore. Didn't need.
Because when I was a kid, that was my dream to get a fucking Escalade.
Yeah.
And now you got a Kia Soul.
And now I have a Kia Soul.
Babe, better.
I can't believe you know what type of car I got.
Everybody's asking for that Kia. Well, we watch your Insta stories. We fucking know.
Yeah.
Anybody who watches
I don't have a car. I mean, Kia Soul's better than what I have.
No, I love that shit. Yeah, I drive anyone anywhere.
Yeah. But yeah, so my ex, he
had all those cars. He was like
cars.
Your father.
He smelled good. He always was fly. And my ex was like a
chubbier
dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, he was a little heavy set.
He was a heavy set dude.
My
dad
isn't.
That. No, but he owned that, and the reason why he made you look past his weight because he was so charming, so funny, and had like and would just like and he knew he was very he was a master at making me feel less than, and then also making me feel like he was the poison but also the remedy.
Yep.
So he would hurt you and make you feel better. So he would
hurt me, and then he would make me feel like, okay, you need to feel loved and you need attention, and I can be the one to give that to you.
Do you think he was doing that on purpose, or do you think it was just hardwired?
It's his own demons.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing.
Yeah.
He didn't know what he was doing. I didn't know what I was doing.
Right.
Sure.
He was playing out learned behavior, basically.
Yes, babe.
Yeah.
And so during that time, so when it got real nasty when we started being like intimate and not even having sex, but laying with each other, kissing. And just like, I became so engulfed with his family. I became so engulfed with his world. That was validation for me. Even though he didn't call me his girlfriend, it was just like, everybody knows who the fuck I am. I literally could call him right now if I need anything, and he would like, come get out, come whatever you need, with bam bam. But I also knew that he was dealing with multiple women, but that didn't matter to me because he literally was on his way to like a date with someone, and he would say it's his friend. Like, I'm going out with my friend such and such, and in my head I'm just like, nigga, I know where the fuck you going. And then, but if I called him, like if I was like remotely coughing, he'd be like, oh, X, I'm coming right now. So it was that toxicity that it was just like, it was like a rush. Right. Like even him like dropping the phone to come whenever I needed him, that was so invigorating. And it's exciting to be wanted that bad. It's not healthy.
There's a power behind it.
Hell yeah.
And have someone who's just like, oh, I can fix it. I'm going to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because I didn't have any man in my life that was doing that.
Of course.
You know?
Because you lost your brother and your dad wasn't there.
Yep. And then my dad who raised me, he and my mom, you know, broke up, and I had no one like in the home.
Yeah.
You know? And so that went on, and then when we got to cut to like right now.
I have a question before you go that.
Yeah.
So like you said he was like with other women, like going on dates, and would confront him about this? Or would you just keep that inside and because you didn't want to mess up this relationship?
This is I'm about to hit that.
Okay.
Yep. So it was a time, so you know that there are like sidekicks and away messages and all that. I just aged myself. It's like, so it's like AOL, and we'll give a tutorial. Okay, so AIM, AOL Instant Messenger, babe.
Please.
It's just like an Instagram post, and you just put it on there, you flip it, you click it, it's great.
It's good you're describing this because our audience is like 13.
Yeah. We got all tweens that
oh, you got, babe. Tweens love hearing about deep shit. They love talking about death, babe. They're like, oh, when am I hearing another podcast about death? Oh my God. But yeah, so there was an away message. So my close friends followed him on AIM or whatever, and he put up an away message of like a fake marriage certificate, and the icon had him and this other girl. And so I went fucking off. My best friend told me this. I was at my auntie's house, and the thing was, like, I had too much pride, and I was like, I'm not going to destroy my auntie's house, and I'm not about to go off in this house. So I walked downstairs, and I was like, who the fuck is this? What the fuck are you doing? And this and this and that. And he's like, and then, and he tried to weasel his ass out of it, and he was just like, who is saying this? Who is this? Them little fake-ass friends, and woo-doo-woo-doo-woo, bam, bam.
You put it on other people, so you don't have to.
Hell yeah, babe. And I was just like, take that shit off, and whoop-de-whoop. Like, I, like, went off. And then he eventually took it off, and he put like my picture as like his icon, and like a random away message just about like chilling, just like something random or whatever.
Yeah.
So that was strike one, and I confronted him about that. And then strike two, it literally like I that was the first time I ever had like an anxiety attack, and I didn't even know what to label it because mental health really isn't discussed within my community. But I was just like, something's happening to my body. But
and that's so confusing.
Yeah.
For it not to be discussed and stuff like that.
At 23, So what happened was I went to his house, and I was always at his house. It got to the point that my mom was getting so pissed. She was like, and she could not stand him because she knew. And I think a part of the reason why my mom was so frustrated was that her very thing that she feared happened, which is I don't want my daughter to date someone like her father, which is who she left. So I went into his house. I was at his house all the time. Like, I had uniforms from TSA over there. I was like ironing his clothes. I was leaving from work, going there, coming back, going there. And so one time I went to his house, and I feel, and to this day, I feel like this was like deliberate. He knew I was coming over. Mm-hmm. He knew I was coming over.
And how long into your relationship is this right now?
I would say right now at like 2 years.
And are you calling each other boyfriend and girlfriend?
No, never happened.
Never happened.
And I will tell you how it ended. It's wow.
Cool. So 2 years you're going over.
So 2 years in, and I was there all the time. 2 years in, but like this last year I was there all the time.
Yes.
So he knew I was coming over. I go into his bathroom, and there is candles and that have been like simmering for a moment. there is a silk robe for a tiny woman and some heels and like panties. And he knows that I'm coming over. He literally let me in the door.
Yeah.
And even if he was like, yo, let me clean up for it, just came up with the lie or anything. And I think it was at that moment, and I was just like, wow, the level of disrespect. And I walked in the restroom when I saw that. My cousin, who also knows him really well, she was coming over and she came. And when she came, I was like, cousin, let's go. Like, I need to go. And then I was like hyperventilating and I was like crying in the car. Because I just could not believe like the level of like disrespect. Like, no, I'm technically not your girlfriend. Like, no, you don't have to. But it was just like, it's just mean. Like, I don't even know any other way to describe it.
Right.
Like,
it also sounds like a power thing that he like left it out on purpose. He's like, look how much
reaction.
I run this shit. Like,
absolutely.
Like, this is mine. I do what I want. And look, I'm gonna be so blatant about it that
It literally shot through my body and I just couldn't believe it, but still didn't leave, you know, because the drug, it's like an addiction and you'll do anything to get that high.
Sure.
Yeah. You know? And so we went through that and it was like extremely tumultuous. It was very nasty. It was intense. It was yelling. It was fights. And this is the thing. He would always, threatened to leave. I never threatened to leave him because I knew I wasn't going anywhere. And also too, one thing that I get from my mom is that she always says, Mija, we may stay in neutral, but once we hit drive, that's it. Like the opinions, we do not go in reverse. So that's why I'm always patient and I don't leave something until I'm ready because I don't make idle threats.
Yeah.
You know, like if I'm done with a project, if I'm done with a friendship or a relationship, that's it. And I will, you know, like that. I don't know how to like ping pong because
you go and you don't look back.
Yeah.
Well, that's good because the ping pong is the fucking worst.
It is. And also too, it's like one of my favorite scriptures. It says like to have respect, let your yes be yeses and let your no's be no's.
Right. That's
like,
beautiful.
People don't know. People won't respect you. Like let your yeses be yeses. So yeah, so it got to that point. So that was like a really, really sad time for me. And I was just like at the point where I just was so like reckless. Close friends was like, X, you need to stop like dealing with him. You need to like leave him alone. Like, X, stop. And I just be like, no, I love him and we're gonna get married. And
would he say I love you and stuff?
Oh yeah. Let me tell you how insane I was at the time. I felt that I needed him so bad. He would get on the phone with me and we would talk every day, text every day, and I would call him and I'll just be like, okay, he had 2 phones. He had his whole phone and he had his regular phone.
That's so crazy.
He did.
That's like stuff that you only hear about.
It's real talk.
He had that. Wow.
And I know when he would be blowing me up because his whole phone only comes up as a block number. He does not allow anyone to see it. So only his hoes know that number. I never knew that number, and I only would get called from it if I wasn't answering his regular phone.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's like such mixed signals, right? Because it's like not like you're on that other phone. You're on the real phone. You think anybody else was on the real phone or just you?
I don't know, because he's such a good liar.
Yeah.
He's such a good manipulator, and I would believed everything.
Yeah.
You know? And so, but I was so crazy that when we would get off the phone, I would say, I love you. And he'd be like, okay. And he would always call me Soshi if he had an attitude, but he called me X all day. And then he'd be like, okay, bye, Soshi. And then I would call back and he'd be like, okay, I love you. Bye. I would not let us like end the conversation without him saying that, which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was insane. I could not. He had to say it before I got off the phone.
Do you think you made him do that because you thought he was with other people at the time, and you like wanted to like?
It's an issue of power.
Yeah.
Issue of power. It was just okay. So this is the one thing that I have, and then I just want to hear it.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't hearing it enough.
Yeah.
We talked about like love and what is love and what isn't love, and I think power. You know, having power, being more comfortable with hurt. You know, right? It's like playing out that power dynamic is painful. And
what do you mean being more comfortable with hurts?
Like if you know what you're going to get, and you keep going back. I think we all have stuff like that, right? In our lives. It's like, I know this is going to make me feel bad.
But I'd rather that than something that's unfamiliar to me.
Exactly.
Well, because familiar pain is better than foreign freedom.
Yes.
Oof.
See, that's the vocabulary I'm talking about.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Oh my God. Fucking big dum-dum. That's amazing vocabulary right there, like that you have with yourself.
It's 5 years of therapy, babe.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, I'm hitting a year.
Yeah, baby. Hell yeah.
I'm like 6 months in, man. I'm fucking hurting.
Oh, yeah. Those first 2 were really hard.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Wait, first 2 years?
Mm-hmm.
Fuck.
Hey, dude, I'm almost out of that.
Mm-hmm. It is. My therapist, my first day, she was like, you need to say out loud that you don't have a dad.
Wow.
So that, the first 6 months was just me coming in, saying that, and then crying for an hour, her holding me and be like, okay, we're going to do this again next week.
Wow.
You know, you got to peel that back.
No, I know.
Because I want to attract good, so I got to be good, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was just, it got to be to that point where we had hit a wall, and it was really nasty. And what's so crazy is that after I lost my virginity to him, he got crazy. I was like, wait a fucking minute. Shouldn't I be the one going crazy? Now, I know it wasn't that great. I just laid there. I know my shit not that bomb. Like, what is wrong with you? Like, I just sat there and I enjoyed the ride. I bought my ticket, saw the movie, I ate the popcorn.
You'll put your hands up in the air the next time you do it.
Yeah. I'll put my feet up in the air. You know, next time I'll lock my head back and be like, woo.
But this time it's just getting through that roller coaster.
Yeah, this time it's just like, listen, I don't get it, babe. And I thought it was going to be the Boyz II Men, I Make Love to You. It was Mike Epps' comedy special. It was laying on a fucking pallet on the floor. And then I got up butt ass naked, ran into the bathroom and like shut the door and just cried. And he was just like, what is wrong with you? Like, I don't. And the thing was, he all the time was like, no, X, we cannot have sex. We cannot have sex. And I was just like, okay, well, we're doing other things. It's not sex. And now I'm curious and like, what's going on? And so like for 6 months, he was like, no. And then I was just kind of like, okay, like what's going to happen? So he felt bad because he was like, but also too, I don't even know if he really felt bad because he's like the talented Mr. Ripley. He's a master manipulator. So, it was just like that night was the worst night. I almost got into a car accident because I was crying so much that my contacts came out. Oof. So I couldn't see and I didn't have my glasses on me, but I just drove home immediately. And I was just like, I just wanted to wash my body and wash myself because I was just like, you're not the person. You're not the person.
You knew it wasn't right.
Person. I knew it wasn't right after it happened. Before it happened and when it happened, it felt right. But then after, as soon as it was done, I was like, no, I can't believe. And because like but that needed to happen because I had put so much focus on my virginity that in my head I was better than other people. So God had to humble me and get me to the place. Yeah, it didn't have shit, you know.
And it's just a part of life, and it's something that can be a beautiful thing.
Absolutely,
and can be a scary thing. It's
you know, there's nothing wrong with it.
No, there's nothing wrong. It's also your relationship to it and stuff like that. It's all about like how you feel about it.
I was talking about this with one of our other guests, and it's so insane because it's like women are told that there's like value in that, and like men are told, and I don't know if anyone's telling us, explicitly this, but it's implied that like your kind of like self-esteem comes from your ability to have sex a lot, right? Yeah. So it's like
media tells us.
Yeah.
It tells men that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then your boys tell you when you're in locker room, so how much ass you get today.
Sure.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yeah, it's like
today.
Today.
You don't know
that's
what
in
life
one
I
day.
lived. We should talk about reasonable expectations after this.
But how, like, those two things they fucking can't work together. You know?
Yeah. And it was just like, it got to be, it got to be so tumultuous and so dangerous. And when I knew I had to like leave is when, we had got into an argument that was so bad. And I was like, oh, he would hit me.
Yeah.
I was like, no, he would hit me.
That's
I knew that.
Scary.
And I was just like, okay.
His anger
was just like, And so what happened was it was just tumultuous, intense. It was toxic. It was it was like that crazy, stupid love, you know? And I had put myself in this mind frame that, you know, I would never experience something like that. I would keep my virginity until I was married. And then God dismantled all of that to get me to a place that allows me to be able to connect with people on a human level, because I had to eat a whole humble pie, which I'm so thankful for. So I can cut to now the end of the relationship. Him and we would go to the fair every year, LA County Fair, never miss.
Is that like a big fair in LA? That sounds fun. There was never any fairs in Staten Island. There was a Richmond County Fair, but it sucked.
Yeah.
No, but it wasn't like a thing.
I know the LA one was lit. Like, people would come and perform, and like it would be lit. Like not like huge acts, but like Boyz II Men New Edition, or like Sierra, Ludacris. Yeah, so like
that's big.
Yeah,
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah, so
depending on the year.
Yeah, you know, this is 2010, 11. So like
Ludacris is a big get.
Yeah, it is a big get. Yeah. And so we would go twice. He had so many nephews, and I had my baby brother. So we would go one day to like ride rides, and then we'd go like another day to just eat, because it's so much food. It's so much fucking food, Sebastian. You have to go.
What are we talking?
It's always the whole month of September.
No, what are we talking food wise?
Oh, okay. So we would get the Krispy Kreme donut fried chicken sandwich.
What the hell is that?
So it's two Krispy Kreme glazed donuts with fried chicken in the middle.
Oh my god.
Tacos at everything, and there's something called LA Ice. So it's smoother than a slushie. It's like
creamier.
It's like creamier, but it's like hard. Like when you get in it, it's like hard. But like when you swipe it, it's like creamier, smoother. It's called LA Ice. And it's so good. And then there's Mexican funnel cake. You don't need powdered sugar.
What is that?
Actual dough. It's a funnel cake, but the actual dough is so sweet you don't need powdered sugar. So there's no powdered sugar available.
God.
And it's a Mexican funnel cake. We loved fresh kettle corn popcorn and fresh caramel glazed almonds. They would do that.
Oof.
And then him and I would get a big turkey leg to split. Yeah,
it's hard to share a turkey leg is a very intimate thing.
Yeah,
that's the most intimate thing that you've talked about. I love my girlfriend so much, but she's not to bite with the same turkey leg I'm biting.
No, it's not that our bodies became one. No. Bitch, you said a turkey leg.
You know, you're getting cartilage in your mouth and shit like that. You gotta hold that out. Oh, that is intimate.
It was so good. We would have also we loved deep fried Oreos.
Of course. Staple, babe. Churros, would they have?
Churros. Honestly, the best churros in Cali is at Disneyland.
Ooh.
We would go to fucking Disneyland just for lemonades and churros and like ride a few rides. But
really?
Then that lemonade, it was like LA Ice but lemonade. Oh. It's so good.
Sebastian, can I tell you something? We can do a quick sidebar for a minute. X doesn't believe I can cook.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't.
I mean, he was vegan for so long.
Because he was talking about, I was like, listen, I told him my favorite meal, and he said he could make it, and I was like, okay.
What's your favorite meal?
My dad is the best cook. I love him. My favorite, I love smothered pork chops, collard greens, mac and cheese, cornbread.
And you said usually you don't eat pork, but that's like an exception.
No, but when my daddy makes that shit, I don't give a fuck.
God. What barbecue do you get in the city?
Barbecue out here?
Yeah.
I go to Mighty Quinn's.
Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That place is awesome.
Quinn's, oh my god,
the salt they get the salt is the size of meat that they put on that shit.
Oh, it's so that mac and cheese.
Yes,
bitch.
I asked because it sounds like your family does it, and when anyone's family does something, I want to know what's a good restaurant.
Yeah,
because the family's always the number one.
Yeah,
the family cooks.
No, my G-Pop makes the best barbecue because he does dry rub for me because I don't like saucy shit. So it's already in the rib. You don't even need sauce. It's so
that sounds so good,
and it falls off the bone. So yeah.
I love that.
But Pat, maybe one day
I'm gonna prove myself. We're gonna have you on again, and you're gonna be like, wow.
Yeah, especially mac and cheese. I am a harsh critic.
What do you do breadcrumbs, or do you don't do breadcrumbs on top in the oven, or do you just do it like gooey? What do you like it?
Just do it gooey, but at least 5 cheeses. It also depends on the shell, and then I like baked mac and cheese.
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna bake it. You're getting breadcrumbs though, and you're gonna like it.
What shell do you use?
I like the spiral ones. They grab the cheese better.
Yeah. Because they get in all the nooks and crannies.
Yeah, you gotta go to Soko in Brooklyn. Best mac and cheese in New York.
Really like that down. Spiral ones.
I can't eat that stuff. I'm on a diet right now. I'm on Weight Watchers, so it's a lifestyle change.
Okay.
Weight Watchers.
That's good. I mean, you look great. I told you that, so.
Yeah.
Good.
I honestly, it's more about it affects my mental health more than it affects my physical health. And that's something I learned about myself.
Same here.
The reason I got so big is because when my brother died, I was like, I can't smoke, I can't drink.
Sure.
But I can eat. So that's when my food addiction started.
Yeah, please. As a kid.
Yeah.
I was, That's a whole other issue.
That's a whole nother show.
So what happened at the end? So you realized that this guy...
So we started talking about the fair, started talking about food. Okay,
of course.
so
that was our food segment.
Yeah, that's the food segment here on who you were and what you ate. Babe, let's add that into it. Oh
Absolutely.
That's going to be my own
We'll
podcast.
get all those diners, drive-ins, and dives. Get all that whole audience.
All that Guy Fieri fucking audience.
Guy Fieri. Get the fuck out of here. But it's crazy, but we ended up both, I had texted him and he told me he was at the fair. And I was like,
wow.
Cool. And at
that was
time,
your spot.
That we went every year together.
Yeah.
And since I was like 19. And so at the time, so I was 23, about to be 24. And so, we were still having sex. And I actually had like a pregnancy scare because we were never using protection, which is very bad. Everybody uses protection.
Yeah.
And I was just so scared because not only that I was pregnant, but I was like, I don't want your fucking baby. Like, no.
Yeah, you said before, this is what your mom feared. This is literally everything your mom feared.
Yes. Everything coming to fruition. It was just like when I knew. Let me tell you right before, like, shit, this is very important. This is right before the LA County Fair thing.
Yeah.
So I had gallstones and didn't know it. I just kept like passing out randomly and like throwing up if I had a piece of pizza.
Uh-huh.
So I thought it was my body reacting to the fact that I had recently lost like 70 pounds. So I was like, maybe my body's used to me eating right but I was like, this is abnormal just to have one piece of fucking fried chicken.
Yes.
And just be passing out. So I had to get my whole gallbladder removed because my gallstones had like a king size bag of Skittles worth of gallstones. Like that shit, it was like 130 of them shits. Like Halloween, like king size bag. And they were like, you cannot pass this shit naturally. You have to get it removed. And he knew how scared I was to like go under, and I just signed the document that was like, bitch, if you die, it ain't on us, you know? And then I had like spoke to him the day before, and I was like, this is the time, like make sure you're there. And at the time we were having kind of like a rough patch, but it was still like, no, like I know he would never miss this. And so right before I go into surgery, I don't see him, but I'm just like, okay, he'll be out. Maybe he'll be there like when I get out. And I knew that I had lost it. Because when I had came to and I like woke up from like the anesthesia or whatever they put us under, I looked to my left and I saw my best friend Ashley, and I was like, "Where's B?" I was not thinking about
that was your first thoughts.
Myself, my mental health, no anything like that. Wow. I told the nurse to call him immediately, and she called him, and he was at a grocery store.
No.
And I was just like, "What?"
Why would you be at the grocery store?
I was like, I just got cut. And you know how scared I was. I've never had surgery before. And I'm like in surgery. Like they just stitched my side up. And my boy, who I love to this day, my homie Prince, he's the one he writes for Beyonce, Rihanna, everybody. He's just an amazing soul, super talented. He had just wrapped up a studio session with Usher and took a red eye so that he wouldn't miss my surgery.
Oh, Jesus.
You know, there are people who, and so I didn't play no games at that time. Like when I would make permanent decisions on temporary emotions. That if I would label that time in my life, that was me.
Yeah.
Like how I feel is how I felt. Like how I feel, I'm like, no, fuck you. This is how I feel, and don't talk to me ever again. And that's not even what I meant. Never would stop, look, listen. Like what is happening? Check in with myself. Yeah. What is this person? Never had that type of inner dialogue.
The pause, right? You didn't have
No. I was like fight or flight, and I was always fighting. So I was in the fucking wheelchair on my phone cussing him out. So pissed. And he came to my house the next day. I was like, can you bring me soup? He's arguing with me about the soup that I want. Yeah. And he's like, I gotta go get a haircut. And I was like, bro, I'm literally can't move. I'm in this bed. And I was just like, this is who you want X like to have and to hold through sickness and health. It was little things, but even when you know, it's still hard to just make that decision to fucking leave.
Yeah.
And so he came to bring me soup, sat with me for 5 seconds, and my mama did not play. When he came to her house, she just opened the door, looked at him, rolled her eyes, and walked to the couch. My mom was just like, you were not there. In her mind, like, fuck you. Like, you wasn't there for my daughter. And so he came and brought me the soup, stayed with me for like 5 seconds, and then like left. And then the next day didn't come, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Where are you at? Like, going crazy. Like, why aren't you here with me to take care of me? And I was not, and I've apologized to my friends, but I'm so, that time in my life was purposeful, but I just feel so bad because there were so many people that were in that room that loved me and came to take care of me, but I could not focus on anybody else but him.
Yeah.
Like, why aren't you here? You know, what's the matter with you? So that was the first thing that happened that year. And then the second thing that happened was after a church service, his sister came up to me and she's like, X, I'm worried about you. And I just immediately started crying. And she was like, listen, you should not let anyone stand in the way between you and God and your relationship with him. And she said, look at me. And she looked me dead in my eyes. She said, I don't even care if it's my brother. You leave whoever you need to leave to make sure that you're okay. And I was just like, wow. So that was the second thing.
Sure.
And then...
And beautiful on her.
Yeah, beautiful on her. I love her. I love his sister to this day. She is a prophetess and so sweet and kind and the most amazing woman.
Because she wasn't like blinded by their relationship.
She cared about you. Yeah. She cared about you.
And she's the oldest sister, the only girl, and very wise. So that happened first. Then the gallstone incident, like him not coming to my rescue, like when I went there. And then it was, he randomly, this is really random and crazy. But that year for my birthday, I wasn't working at TSA anymore, but I still had a lot of homies there. And there was a girl who worked for TSA too, and we had the exact same birthday. And she was like, Bish, I know that you sad, and I know that you're going through some shit right now with your dude. Y'all together, not together. Let's go to Vegas. Ooh. So we went to Vegas.
I love that.
Yeah, and so we went to Vegas, and then I get a text from him about, like, we always texted, I do this with a lot of my friends, but him and I would do it all the time, especially because he's a musician. We always texted in songs. Like, we would text lyrics, and he would text lyrics back and stuff. And so he had, like, did that, and I was just like, okay, like, why is he trying to be cute? Like, we just came off of this whole thing about him, like, disrespecting me and not coming to my rescue when I was in the hospital. And so he popped up in Vegas.
Wow.
I still to this day don't know how he knows I was in Vegas. And he came there like with his family or whatever, which I'm just kind of like, okay. And so also too, right before, there was so many things that happened the year that I broke up with him. Before that, him and I would always bag on each other. And he was like, it was a time when he like shot on my mom and I shot on his mom, and mine was way funnier and it hit harder. And he literally was like, you're not getting in my fucking car, like, get out. Like, he was mad. I had to call my homegirl to come pick me up because he was mad. And I to this day, that's why I don't like really shoot, or people will be like, okay, X, like this and this, and like your mom. I'm like, nope. Because I already know, like, I'm like, okay, I go for blood, and I'm not sensitive. So, like, you can say what the fuck you want to say. But he shot on my mom, so I shot on his mom, and it was just like, nope. And everybody was laughing harder about what I said. Yeah. So, it was just like, he got mad. So, that happened, and then he was, like, not speaking to me. He told some of his family not to speak to me. He was just, like, really being childish. So, then I saw him in Vegas, and it's my birthday. Yeah. It's my birthday.
26?
24.
24. Okay, sorry.
And he asked me, it's my birthday, but he was like, come meet me. I was like, okay, still stupid. I was like, okay.
Went and you met him.
When I met him, he was at MGM Grand. I had to walk down the strip from where my hotel was. And I see him, and I'm just like, hey. And I walk up to him, and I'm like, can I have a kiss? And he just like turns his head to me and goes like this. And so I lean in to give him a kiss, and he just like sits there. Like, as if, like, okay, like, whatever.
He's giving you the cold shoulder.
But he just asked you to come over.
Yes.
Yep. And so then I was just like, okay. I was just like, how are things with us? Like, what's going on? Like, where are we at? What is this? Like, da-da-da-da. Am I your girlfriend? I'm tired of this shit. Like, what is this? Like, I'm tired of being we're not just best friends. Like, the things I do with you, I don't do with friends. Like, what is happening? And he was just like, I mean, we'll see. I mean, I don't know. And like talking in riddles, like like when the sky hits the shield, does it fall? Does it live? I'm just like, what? Are you talking in fucking like riddles?
Yeah.
And so I say hi to his family, and I'm like walking, and literally right before I cry, he calls me, and he's just like, "Don't cry." It's so disgusting. Because he knew, and that gives him power.
He made you cry, and then he says, "Don't cry," because he wants to take care of you.
Yeah.
And so at this point, you're sort of realizing what's going on. Like, it's a little bit more like you have a little more awareness of what's going on.
Yeah, a little more clarity because we've spent a little less time with each other now because now it's been, like, really bad.
Sure.
So now I'm like, okay, yeah, you know, we got the whole incident with the gallbladder. You're not showing up. We got your sister telling me you're popping up in Vegas and treating me really, really mean. And then he felt me pulling back. And he did not know how to take it. I mean, I was getting like 16 calls a day. Like, what's going on? What are you doing? This and this and that. And then I started reading this book called The Angry Solution. And it literally changed my life. And I suggest anybody listening to this to grab that book. And it taught me that anger is healthy, which I didn't know. Anger was always labeled as bad in my house. Like, oh, you angry? Are you mad? You angry? But it taught me the difference between anger and rage, and that rage is about the there, and anger is about the here and now, and that's healthy. If I'm angry at you right now, it's okay, because I'm present. Yeah. But if I'm using terms like I can't stand it when you, why you always gotta, every time you, it's like, oh, we're talking about
other shit, something
different,
and we're talking about old shit that might not even have to do with the person.
Yeah, that doesn't even matter. I'm like, why the fuck you didn't say nothing back then? Yo, bad, you know?
Sure.
So then it was breaking down like what abuse is and manipulators, and he kept footing the bill.
Yeah.
And I was like, damn it. Okay. And it got to the point where his text messages were like in direct quotes of what the book said a person enraged and unhealthy is. Oof. And I was like, shit.
How'd you get this book? Did you buy it on your own, or did someone give it to you? I was
so hungry to get well.
Yeah, sure. So you
I just went to a stuff out. I just went to the self-help section.
That's you took actionable steps to feel better.
Because I was like, this is not okay.
Sure.
I know the way that I feel in my body, and this is not okay. And this is not okay. And so then I started seeking therapy. My lovely spiritual mentor and therapist, I found her, and
is she in LA?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You still talk to her?
Yeah, all the time. And so what happened was I started talking to her, and she was like, X, I'm going to challenge you to do one thing because you're still not ready to leave him. She was like, I want you to communicate. And at this time I was doing a show. It was called The Hip Hop Wizard of Oz, and I was having rehearsals, and like I was really busy. And she was like, X, this is what I want you to do.
Yeah. Oh my God, she's yawning at her own story. Truly remarkable.
It's that boring.
No, I'm kidding.
No, mental health is boring.
Who were you in hip hop? Who were you in Hip Hop Wizard of Oz?
I was one of the wizardettes, and then I was the witch's like best friend.
Okay. Can I ask a question? And it might be bad. What's the difference between the Wiz and the Hip Hop Wizard of Oz?
No,
that is a genuine question.
No, Sebastian, the reason why that's so funny is I don't know. Because this show was that bad.
Oh my God.
This person was the worst experience of my life. She didn't know how to write. She didn't know how to do anything. She didn't know how to choreograph. We didn't even have live fucking music.
Wait, but the Wiz isn't that bad though. Like, I mean, it's not.
No, the Wiz is fucking amazing. Yeah, and beautiful, and it's a cultural touchstone.
Right. But you said I don't know what the difference is, so I'm like, wait, you think the Wiz is bad?
Well, this is the difference. Hip Hop Wizard of Oz was bad. And the Wiz is good.
The Wiz is dope.
I'm sorry, I don't know.
Those are the two differences. I don't know. I was in the show.
All right.
I don't. It was gaga. Cool. I can't believe. But it was like, it was me like kind of like still toying with that whole like acting thing, but like just still frustrated with the industry. So what my therapist challenged me to do, and this is something if anybody's listening and you're like in a toxic relationship or think the person that you're with is toxic, like you should try this. But she said to let him know that I was going to take time for myself and that this week I would not be available until Sunday.
Wow.
And when I sent him that message, I got like 10 text messages, like 17 missed calls.
Sure.
He never respected my boundary.
Yeah.
It was like that Beyonce song, the first time I said no, it was like I never said yes.
Well, because you were doing something that was good for you.
Yeah, and something that was different, and I wasn't that little girl anymore.
Yeah.
I'm now asking for what I want, and she was like, you need to see how much he does not respect you. So he kept calling me. He was calling my cousin, crying, like, what's up with X, and this and that, and she want to do this, and whoop, and da-da-da-da. And so then I picked up his call on Sunday, which is when I said I would. And it was difficult not to answer his call. I was wondering, like, am I being mean? Like, what am I doing? How am I looking? Like, I never took care of myself, so I didn't know how to. And I didn't know. I was raised, as much as I love my mom, bless her heart. And, like, you know, my mom has grown so much, and we've worked through so much of our things because she's been able to be honest about her own demons. But a lot of times growing up, me taking care of myself was always labeled as being selfish or dismissive to somebody else.
Absolutely.
So it was like very difficult for me to take care of myself, even when this situation, especially someone that I'm so engulfed with and codependent with and in an entanglement.
Yeah.
And so on Sunday when I called him, I literally hear the band playing, and he is the MD. So I'm like, you are not in church. I hear him, like, he's like standing outside the church. I hear the band playing. I'm like, you need to get on the organ. Like, what are you doing? He was like, no, because when people are in relationships and somebody said that they need a break or this and that, it's like they want to end the relationship. I said, relationship?
Yeah.
I said, I'm not your girlfriend.
Yeah.
I said, I'm not. He was like, oh, really? You want to? And we'll do. I said, go in. Have a nice day. Hang up. And so I told him, I texted him, I said, you need to meet me here at this time, at this date. And we need to talk. And so he gave me suggestions of, like, all of our favorite restaurants. And I said, no, let's talk here. And he was like, why? I said, because it's a patio, there's a park bench there, and it's ideal for talking. Because at this point, like, I had mustered up I was done, especially after reading that book and, like,
You're in
so
therapy.
many things that he was doing. It was just like, oh, this is clear. This is now clear. And also, there's a shift that happens with women. Like, when you get on that cusp of 25, it's like, oh, no, fuck, this is just, no. Like, I can't. And so...
Well, it's beautiful because then you learn it's about a partnership. It's about like someone that feeds you as much as you feed them.
Yep. And so when he came to pick me up, I had just got out of rehearsal. So I'm like, my weave is looking a fucking mess. I'm sweaty. I got on sweats. I pull up. He just got a car wash. I know every scent he has. This is a brand new cologne that I've never smelled. And I know all his scents. I know every pair of Jordan he has. And this is a new pair of Jordan.
He's trying to look
fresh
as
haircut,
good as possible for you.
Oh, fucking fresh ass fit. And I was just like, I walk up and he's like, oh. I said, let's go over here. So we go and talk, and I tell him, like, hey, listen, I want to apologize to you for having unrealistic expectations of, like, what you should be for me and not being enough for you or this relationship. Like, I apologize for all of the, like, dysfunction that I've contributed to this relationship. Yeah. And I just want to let you know that I can no longer be in this. And I, love you and care about you. And this whole time he's just, like, stroking his beard, looking at me and stuff like that. And
He's
I was
not
like,
even, like, in the moment.
Oh, no.
He's still acting.
Babe, yes. And I was like, do you, like, understand where I'm coming from? Like, is there anything you want to ask me? And he's just like, no. I was like, okay. So he drives me home, and I was like, let me know when you make it home. And then he calls me and gets home, like, hello. And I'm like, hello, you made it home? He was like, yeah. He was like, I'm sad. I was like, why? He was like, cause my best friend told me she doesn't want to be in my life anymore. Like, it's like a joke.
Oh.
Yeah, like a kid.
So I said, so in my head I was like, oh, okay, this is a joke. Cool. And so then it got nastier. Because I kept losing weight, and I kept like showing up to places like without my glasses. I just started wearing makeup. I was wearing heels.
You were coming into yourself.
I was coming into myself, and he had called me over and over and kept texting. And I said, hey, and I was working with my therapist, and she was like, you do not know how to be his friend yet. Because I still was like, do I go see his family on Thanksgiving?
Right.
Do I do this thing with his niece? Sure. Do I go to this graduation? My therapist was like, nope, new boundaries.
Thank God you had that person in your
Absolutely.
life.
Mm-hmm,
Absolutely.
And that's great that you knew you needed that person.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you are at a place where you go, I need someone. I can't make the best choices for myself right now. So I need someone in my life that's going to help me make the best choices for myself.
Can I ask you about like what led you to that, right? Because you talked about your community, and you talked about like, and a lot of people go through the rest of their life, thinking that they're responsible for somebody else's feelings, getting manipulated, or people pleasing, or whatever the case may be. How did you come to that decision?
To find my therapist?
Yeah.
Oh, I was praying. Oh, I was like laying prostrate on my bed, just like crying.
Yeah.
So many things were coming up as I was reading that book about myself. So many things were coming up about how I never dealt with the fact that my birth father didn't want to be in my life and didn't want me. Dealing with the fact of how like my brother has passed away, and I was just soothing myself with food and not really dealing with the emotions. So now I'm dealing with the emotions. So my ex was kind of just like a side dish on my plate of life that I was dealing with.
Yeah.
So much that was coming to a head as I kept searching for articles and books and stuff. So I was just praying, and I knew someone who had utilized her before. And I was like, okay, I think that she'll be great because she's also a spiritual person. Because there's some things for me that can't be explained.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is just like, you just got to have faith.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like I could equate it to like what I would call like a bottom for me, you know what I mean? Like in terms of drugs and alcohol. And it's like, you got to kind of hit that, and then the grace kind of, comes,
Yeah. And so when I had told him that I would leave him, and he thought it was a joke, and he kept calling, stuff like that, I'll never forget the text message that he sent me when I was like, we need to speak just when we see each other. He said, well, let's not speak at all. And I texted my mentor when he said that, and she was like, okay, so tell him that's okay. So I told him back, I said, cool. He said, I would expect this from a real woman, but you've never had a true example of how a real relationship is supposed to go. So I get it. I will never forget those words. And so she was just like, he's being mean. He's doing these things, and just don't worry about it. So then I go to church with my homeboy Prince, who's very attractive, tall, nice. He's literally like my brother, like nothing inappropriate.
Sure.
And my ex was playing that night, and this was the day after he sent me that nasty message. So I walk in, he sees me there, and so then he taps someone to tap my friend Prince to tap me. So my friend Prince taps me, I look behind, I roll my eyes, and he tells the person to tap me again. He's like, X, come here. So I come outside, and he has like the most menacing smile on his face. He was like, what's wrong, Soshi? What's wrong? I was like, excuse me? Do you know what you sent me yesterday?
Yeah.
And he was like, X, you said some mean things to me, so I said some mean things to you. I said, no, I said some real things to you. What I said was really true. I'm not trying to be mean to you. We cannot be together.
Sure.
He was like, well, I always thought, you talking about something we would never like. I never thought that would come out of your mouth. Like, I was like, it's not going to, like, we're not compatible, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is, like, that's okay. But it had been, he knew me since I was 16, and at that time I was, 24, so that was, 8 years of, knowing each other.
Yeah.
And so it was just, difficult to break that. And so the challenge became, after that night, I'll never forget, it was Halloween, 2011, because it was, Hallelujah night at the church. Mm-hmm. That night, his grandfather died. 2 months after that, his sister-in-law died, giving birth to her 10th child.
Oh, my God.
A month after that, his best friend died. A month after that, his auntie died.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. And all that happened, and I had to keep my boundary.
Wow.
That must have been really hard for you.
I was on the phone with my close friends in my inner circle. And it wasn't just him that I had to get rid of. It was multiple people during the time. I was like, no, you're not. You can't serve me because you don't even know how to serve yourself. It's not even personal.
Yeah.
And so it was just having to keep that boundary up, wanting to be there for him, but knowing that I can only be this far, that I don't need to be at the house, that I don't need to buy food, that I, just showing up at the funeral, paying my respects, walking by, giving a little hug, keep it moving.
Yeah.
You know, that at the time felt wrong and mean.
But you had to serve yourself.
I did.
Yeah.
That sounds like the thing that you had to learn this whole time.
I did. I had to serve myself, and I learned he was my greatest teacher. He's my greatest teacher, and I'm grateful for that experience in that time in my life. But I learned so much about myself, but it's helped me to be a better servant. It's helped me to be a better leader with the projects that I have. It's helped me to be able to have fostered community so quickly at UCB and amongst other people of color in the comedy community, because I know myself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
You know, and I've worked on those parts of me that aren't so nice and pretty, you know?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, it's very clear. You know, it's very clear that you know who you are, and it's very clear that you love yourself, you know? And I think, like,
to be at your age and to know that and to know your voice,
it's just clear to me. Like, it's like you don't see that a lot. You know, like the first time I played with you, I left and I told my wife, I was like, X is going to be on TV in 5 minutes. You know, and I know you don't care about that.
No, it's not that I don't care about that. I care. Put me on ABC7. But give me Hello Shondaland.
What did we do? You remember we sang a song or something like that. We shamed. It was like we were shitty teachers or something like that.
We were shitty teachers. Oh my God, we shamed Dan Moore, who's my babe.
Yeah.
Dan Moore, best white boy, sweet boy. But yeah, we like shamed him, then we were singing, and then we busted in your sporting goods store.
Yes.
We were fat shaming his daughter, and we were rapping, and it was just like,
God.
Yeah, it was bonkers. It was
so good and fun. But yeah, it was just like that part of my life. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, oh Jesus, but I'm just like, had I not gone through that, I'm so thankful I gone through it at that age rather than going through it at 40.
Yeah,
sure.
Or going through it over and over and over and over again until you're whatever, and never get. Yeah,
but I know my worth. That's why, I mean, since him, it took me like 2 years to get over him. Mm-hmm. And then I've been open to dating now. I wasn't before because I was just like, I need to fix myself. But I am now. But it's just like the pool of people to choose from. There, a lot of people don't know their shit.
Yep,
sure.
They don't know themselves, so it's difficult. So it's like, yeah, it's tough. But I would encourage anybody that's in a dysfunctional codependent entanglement and you're calling it love, to me, how you look when you do that is pulling up on a scooter and calling it a Benz. And you're just like, look at my scooter, look at the way I park, look at I'm looking in my rear view.
Is able to see what is actually happening.
And they're like, bro, that's a scooter. And you're like, no, you get defense, like, no the fuck it's not. Like, look, I have a horn. Like, and they literally say, Hong Kong, like, see, I have a horn. It's like, all right, bitch, cool, all right. You know, you just let them go about their business. But it's like, don't call what you were in, like, oh yeah, I was in love with this person, because then you'll continue to experience that. But we have to be mindful of how we label things.
And if you don't know, ask yourself, can you be by yourself?
Yeah, I love being by myself, Patrick.
Yeah, me too.
Almost to the point that I'm just kind of like, I'm nervous because I'm so good by myself. Not that, and I desire a partnership. Yes, I do. But I'm just like, you have to be exceptional, because we as artists and how busy we are and we grind so much, barely have any me time.
No,
Sebastian,
barely.
You get this guy in a fucking hotel room and he's going to lose his mind.
Naked Winnie the Pooh.
Well, when you say it like that, you make it sound like I look like Winnie the Pooh. Which isn't a lie.
He's got a red shirt, his ears pop up. There's honey everywhere, babe.
Wait, I have one more question. Is who, if this never changed, where do you think your life would be right now?
What do you mean? If
you
didn't take these steps to get out of that, to change this situation that you were in?
It's a very hard question, because
I would be unhappy, unhealthy, and a single mom.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Not doing comedy. I'd be at like a city
and that
job.
would be not only a disservice for you, but for the world.
For the world.
Yeah, because we're all here with a purpose.
Yeah.
That's why everyone is so special and so unique. And I think we're at a place. I was just having a conversation with a friend because I think in this industry, so many people compare their year 1 to my year 10.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of things are happening for me, which I'm so blessed to have. Like, I wake up every day, like the fact that I can go to work and be on set and do the thing that I love and get paid to do it is insane to me.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've been producing since I was 18. I've been performing on the stage since I was 8.
Yeah.
You know, so...
You also have to be talent ready and you have to be emotionally ready.
Yeah.
You know, another thing happened after I had done improv with you, and I said that to Emily. She took an acting class with you, like almost like I think like very much around that time. And she came home and she was like, "X is fucking incredible."
That means so much. Yeah, she told me that. It gets me.
She didn't say I say shit like fucking incredible. She probably was very sweet.
She was like, "You little bitch." I was like, "That's Mrs. Noth. You gotta know Mrs. Noth, babe." But the thing is for me, you know what I recognize a lot in this community, and it's crazy because someone like an outsider that's not that's basically like new to improv in this comedy world. A lot of people suffer from anxiety.
Yeah,
sure.
In this community.
Hey, you're looking at one.
Yeah, I didn't even. That's nothing that I never really like struggled with. It's like. If I'm like about to perform, you know, it's like, oh, I get nervous.
Oh, I don't get anxiety like that. I don't. Yeah. I'm the most me when I'm about to perform.
Yeah, and like when I'm about to perform, I get a little nervousness, and I'm like, oh, cool, that keeps me good. That keeps me on my toes.
You
and
eat
then,
that.
Yeah, and then I go on stage, and then it's like, let's fucking go.
Yes.
But just like people I know that don't even like to go to places with lots of people.
No, my anxiety is different than that.
Yeah, no, I'm saying it's like different levels to it. It's levels to the shit. And so it's just like, so like that type of thing. And like even with like compliments, I don't know why comedians feel that they have to always be self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Because even when I give someone a compliment, I'm like, oh my God, you were so funny. They're like, oh yeah, it was. Oh.
No, you always take that.
I'm like, you're calling me a liar.
Yeah. No, I mean that I did that for years. I struggle to this day to not do that. I remember Sashir one time. Someone said something to me in Sashir, and I said, well, I don't know. And Sashir was like, just take the compliment.
I know. I learned those lessons. Someone told me, they go, when someone says good job with something, don't say no, because then you're saying, oh, what your opinion that you just told me, I'm saying that's not true.
Yeah.
And also, if someone pays me a compliment, I don't have to pay them a compliment back.
No.
Because if anything, that compliment doesn't mean anything in that moment. It's just like you're saying, oh, okay, you too, you know, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I always, if I'm going to give someone a compliment, I make a point of doing it. And I always do try to make a point of people I find talented. I always take them, I always say little things to them. Mm-hmm. And I don't know what it means coming from me, but I think it just means from anyone. It's like, you want to hear that shit.
Oh, it means everything.
Absolutely.
Sebastian was my coach and ripped my ass so many times. He ripped my ass 20 times, and then one time he sent me an email. He said, more of that. Good night.
I think I'm cool when I do shit like that.
But the thing is, everybody on Top Heavy was just like, yeah, Seb, he's our big papa, and we just want to please Dad.
Yeah. I can't believe I now remember saying more of that. Mm-hmm. Fuck yeah! And that night I do. I wanted more of that.
Yeah, and I
were fire that night.
Yeah, I had been fucking up, but the thing is just like it's good because in practice you do the work, sure. And I didn't want no flimsy ass fucking nice ass coach because I'm paying too much fucking money.
You have to be honest,
and I'm spending too much time.
Hell yeah, money and time. You need someone that's gonna work.
Hell yeah,
not eating peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. Like oh yeah, that was good.
I remember I had like Neil Casey and Chris Gethard as a coach, and then after that it was like just a string of people who weren't honest, like who just couldn't give you notes, and it was like, just tell me, like just say it, like it's like that's the only way to get better. I coached Sebastian for 3 years too, and I remember actively thinking to myself, I'm like, I'm gonna compliment this guy a lot. Will Hines and I saw you do a show one time, and Will's like, man, this guy's fucking amazing. And I told you about it because I was like, it's like, why not?
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
you
why
gotta
not?
let people know.
Yeah.
People too much often say, oh, you messed up here sometimes, right? And they don't go, because I'll say, this wasn't good, but then also if it's good, I'll go, that was great.
Yep.
You need to hear both. I think people either don't do either or they just do the negative.
Yeah. And for me too, what I do is I take those compliments and literally, like, it's been happening like so much. Like, a lot of people see the work that I'm doing and they are like so kind with their words, and I really appreciate it. But I'm mindful to take the compliment and then I release it.
Right.
Because if I live on the compliments of people, I'll die.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they will say, we love you, and crucify you the next day.
Right.
Like, and say, crucify him like they did Christ. And so I just, you know, I am so, like, I know my shit, and I know things that I've done, and I, you know, actively work on forgiving myself daily. So for me, it's like when people say, oh, X, you're a light, or you're this, or you're that, I'm always thinking about, like, oh, in 2012, babe. Yeah. You don't know. I was out here. I've been cussing out motherfuckers, trying to fight. I was just like reckless, like terrible partner, like I was a horrible producer. Oh my God. Like, had people in scenes together and wrote stuff for people that had no business being a part of a project. Like, I had but you know, it's like that Cardi B song, I turn on my L's and lessons, I'm living my best life. So it's like, I'm able to effectively and seamlessly, for the most part, do potato salad because I've had 12 years of,
like, so beautiful.
Like, you know?
And you said right up top, you were like, I don't, you know, you were like, I don't care about fame. I don't care about this. Because if, you know, I think after a while you realize if I'm just chasing validation.
Oh, it's the process. It's what you tell your little brother.
Yeah. It's not the outcome.
Yeah. This was so beautiful.
Yeah.
You were so nice. I mean, I knew you were going to be awesome, but phenomenal.
Yeah. Seriously, some master.
No, yeah, I really do. I pray for that. I pray for that. When people tell me, like, X, you're such a light, I go home and I cry. And I just thank God because for him to still use me after all the things that I've done, even when I quit comedy, even when I quit doing theater, because I literally told him the vessel that he put this gift in is like, he's wrong. Well, that's what you tell him when you quit, you know? But it's like your dream, you can never... It will always chase you.
Also, the more you do, the more work you do, you realize, like, when I was doing all that stuff, that actually wasn't you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy? Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Is that...
That wasn't me. That wasn't me.
Professional, dude. Come on.
I'm cutting that out. I'm cutting that out.
Professional person.
Yes.
I'm cutting that out.
Are you?
Well, it just
Seb
made a boom noise.
Seb has the best posture, sitting there like a good boy.
Oh, a very good boy.
But no, I think that it's so important that we know who we are, and we get to a place to where the people that I'm attracting is a sense of validation of the work that I've put in on myself. Because the people that want to collaborate with me, the people that want to be in my life, the people that I am attracting are people that vibrate at my level or higher. The people that have far more experience in me mentally, spiritually, career-wise, comedy-wise. And they are genuinely good people and just want to see me win, and they benefit nothing. You know, and so that is a sense of like validation for me, that like, oh, X, you're putting in the work. And also too, like, my close friend Ashley, I will say this, I have to say this on this podcast, she's actually coming out here next week. She lived in New York for 2 years. She did Lambda, wonderful vocalist, actor, and is now back in LA. When I was 16, terrible, oh my God, so terrible, but I did something and I disrespected her. We were in a play together, and I had her waiting outside. She told me she was the only person in our little crew that had a car. In LA, you gotta have a whip, you know?
Of course.
So she took me to the homie Ray Ray's dinner party, and she was like, X, how long you gonna be there? And I'm like, just like 30 minutes. Just like 30 minutes. I ended up staying like at least 2 hours.
Wow.
And she was in the car. Never texted her, I was so selfish. Yeah. So I walk outside, and she's like quiet and sitting in the car, and I open the car door. And all I know is chaos.
Yeah.
All I know is yelling. All I know is at least to be like, why would you do that? Well, at least, that feels familiar.
Yep.
You know? But I got in the car and she was quiet. And I was like, Ashley, are you mad? She was like, mm-hmm.
Wow.
And she was like, I'm not ready to talk about it.
Wow.
At 16.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
I call
mature.
her my angel.
I love
And
it.
so we went back to rehearsal and I was like, Ash, can we talk about it? And she was like, no, I'm still not ready to talk about it. I'll let you know when I am.
That's so beautiful.
To have that level of awareness at 16, I was going insane. I was like about to lose my mind. Like, what is she about to do? I was like, is she going to like try to sneak fight me? Is she going to try to sneak up on my ass and like hit me with the...
And this is the person that's still in your life. You've talked about a bunch of people.
Still
but
in my life.
But this is the person that you're going to see next week. And there's a reason for that.
She's coming out here. I just saw her when I went home to LA. When we talk, it's at least 6 hours on the phone. Like, I love her. And so she told me when she finally was ready to talk to me, she was like, she was like, what you did made me feel disrespected, and that cannot happen again. Wow. But also, I want you to know that I know who you are right now is not who you're going to be.
Yeah. Fuck. That's awesome.
At 16. So I get emotional thinking about having people like her in my life because she was there through that whole time with my ex and everything like that. And even when there were times when her and I made plans and I would ditch her and like dodge her phone calls to be with him, was not being the best friend, she always was patient with me. And like she said, till this, like she knew, she saw the end. Like she saw like, no, you'll be fine and you'll come out of this and you'll be okay. Because she probably
saw you underneath all that shit.
Yeah.
She's the first person that I ever experienced. I said, oh, that's God.
It's amazing to me to even think about like you not who you are right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
it's good people hear that shit.
Yeah.
Because then if they're not who they're gonna be, then they just go, look, see, it's a journey.
I'll get there.
It's a journey, but that's why you focus on the process.
It's the dash. You got to make that dash worth it.
Who cares about that when you were born and when you die, babe? What'd you do in the middle? I'm always thinking about those 2-minute remarks.
Yeah.
Oof. And what will people say? And what you really hope they say. But like sometimes like I know that my thinking is a little crazy because it's like my hope really is in glory. Like I really am going to like fly away one day. And it's just like all this stuff is fleeting. You can't take none of these awards and none of that with you. It's just like what really matters to you, like what really means something to you. And I continue to just like do the work. And now it's like I'm reaping the harvest.
Yeah.
Now it's harvest time.
X, what do you want to plug?
Yeah, reap that harvest
on
right
that
now.
note. On that
note. Yeah, reap
Wait,
that.
when does this come out?
Couple weeks.
So yeah, a couple weeks. Don't go
July. Yeah, 2018.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you got the potato salad.
Okay, yeah. So I have my show, Who Made the Potato Salad, sketch comedy show made in a day, starring people of color. Mm-hmm. We premiered at the Take November 4th. We've had 3 shows. Every show sold out. And we will continue to sell out. So the next show will be July 28th. That is my birthday takeover.
Wow.
It's going to be insane. I got families flying out, and it's a birthday celebration for myself and Stephen Paletta, who's my baby.
Of course.
Yeah,
Love
he's my
Steven.
sister. Love him. And so that's happening July 28th. Mm-hmm. July 1st actually is the Colored Marathon. So DCM is happening that weekend, but the Colored Marathon will be happening the last day of DCM at night.
Okay.
So it won't conflict with the festival, but it's nonstop comedy and bits from people of color from 7 to 10.
Where?
At the Tank.
Nice.
So both July 1st, the Color Marathon, and Who Made the Potato Salad, my birthday takeover, will both be at the Tank.
Beautiful.
In July. And then my podcast, Lord of the Blings, is coming out in July. That is the podcast with myself and Dave Murray. His nerdy white ass loves Lord of the Rings, and I don't fuck with it. And so I don't fuck with sci-fi, but he talks about it in a way that makes me intrigued. So we've been watching Lord of the Rings and then discussing it.
Oh, shit. That's going to be
on
great.
the podcast. And then we bring in a person of color who's a nerd for Lord of the Rings and a white person who's never seen it.
Wow. All right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty legit.
So it's super, super dope. And then also when it comes out in July, season 2 of Strangers, which I have a reoccurring role on, would already be out. So if you're listening to this now, please go to Facebook and watch season 1 and season 2 of Strangers. I'm only on season 2.
Nice, but watch season 1.
Yeah, watch season 1.
Get ready for X.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Absolutely.
I am so excited, and I this was so good and so therapeutic, and it feels good. And I feel so blessed that you guys held space for me to
Thank
be
you.
open.
It was an honor. Email us at whoyouwerepodcast@gmail.com. If you want to send us before and after pics, we'll post them to our Instagram. The handle is at whoyouwerepodcast. I'm Patrick Noth on Twitter. Patrick Noth with 0 on Instagram. Sebastian
Canelli on Instagram. You can follow my 4 pics.
Oh yeah, first one is his ass at a hotel. Winnie the Pooh.
How do people find you?
Oh yeah, my Instagram is at $80. So 80, then spell out the word dollars in a suitcase. That's what I had when I decided to move to New York.
Nice.
And then on Twitter, I am I'm Khadijah James. So I am. And then the word Khadijah, then James. Khadijah James. That is a living single reference. That's whose Queen Latifah's character was. And in my head, we're the same person.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Who You Were. Please subscribe, rate, and review. Guest before and after pics on Instagram at Who You Were Podcast. Send your before and after pics to whoyouwerepodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at Who You Were Podcast. This podcast is produced independently. If you'd like to support it, please visit patreon.com/Patrick Noth. Thanks for listening.